The red sun of Mars slowly rose above the colony dome. Light passed through the glass and touched the dusty street. People in silver suits walked toward their jobs. Machines hummed in the background, working day and night. Inside one small cafe, near the colony's edge, a girl named Nima started her shift. Nima was 23. She wore a plain gray apron and tied her dark hair back. Her eyes looked tired, but she smiled at each customer. Life was not easy for her. She worked 2 jobs and lived in a tiny room. Her father was sick and needed strong medicine from Earth, but it was too expensive. Even so, Nima never let the pain show on her face. The cafe was simple. It had a few tables, a counter, and a humming old coffee machine. Colonists came in for warm drinks and quick food. Nima knew most of them by name. She greeted each person kindly, no matter how rich or poor. One morning, as Nima cleaned a table near the back, she noticed someone new. An old man sat quietly in the corner, wearing a long brown coat with patches. His beard was gray and messy. His hands looked rough, like someone who worked outside for many years. He didn't speak. He just stared at the menu on the wall. Nima walked over with a smile. "Good morning, sir. What would you like?" The old man looked up. His eyes were sharp but tired. He pointed slowly at the coffee. "1 small, please." She nodded and went to the machine. When she brought the coffee, she noticed he was checking his credit chip, shaking his head. "I'm sorry," he said, voice low. I don't think I have enough." Nima looked at him. Most people would just walk away or call security, but Nima didn't. She gave a small smile. "Don't worry, it's just coffee. I'll take care of it." The old man blinked. "Why?" "Because," she said, "you looked like you needed something warm today." He said nothing, just stared at the cup in front of him, as if no one had ever done such a thing for him. Then he picked it up and took a slow sip. Nima walked away and went back to her work. That day passed slowly. The usual customers came and went: miners, farmers, cleaners, and some officers from the colony patrol. The old man sat in his corner for hours, drinking the small cup slowly. He didn't talk to anyone, but he kept watching. Not in a strange way, more like he was studying people. Especially Nima. When her shift ended, Nima counted her tips. She had lost a few credits by paying for the coffee, but she didn't mind. She told the other waitress, "He didn't have enough, so I paid. It's just a small act." The other girl, Lani, laughed. "You're too soft, Nima. What if he's just pretending? Some old man trying to get free stuff." "Maybe," Nima sighed, "but maybe not." She left the cafe and walked back to her tiny room near the farming station. Her father's medicine alarm blinked red again. She sighed. It meant another night without full sleep. She made a call to the clinic, asking again if there was a discount or payment plan. The answer was the same no. She whispered to her father, who was sleeping, "Hold on, Baba, I'll find a way." The next morning, the old man was there again. He sat at the same table, same spot in the corner. This time, when Nima walked by, he didn't order. He just looked at her. "You don't have to pay today," he said quietly. "I'm not hungry," Nima smiled. "Coffee?" He nodded once. She brought it and placed it in front of him. "You paid for me again?" He asked. "Yes." "Why?" "Because someone should." The old man looked down at the table. "People don't do things like that anymore." Nima shrugged. Maybe they forgot how. This continued for several days. The old man came every morning. He always sat in the same corner, always wore the same coat. Sometimes he had a few credits and tried to pay. Sometimes Nima paid for him. They didn't talk much, but a strange trust formed between them. He never gave his full name, just said, "Call me Doran." One time he asked, "Why are you still here? You're young, smart, you could leave this place." Nima smiled sadly. "I want to study engineering, build machines, fix things. But it costs too much, and my father is sick, so I stay." Doran nodded. He said no more that day. One afternoon, a rude customer started shouting. His order was late, and he threw a cup on the floor. Nima apologized and tried to calm him down. Doran watched from the corner. When the man left angrily, Nima picked up the pieces without saying a word. Doran asked, "Why didn't you shout back?" "Because anger only makes more anger," she replied. "Someone has to break the chain." He watched her a long time. That night, Doran stayed longer than usual. Before leaving, he turned to her. "You'll do well, Nima, even if you don't see it yet." And then he left. The next day, Doran didn't come. Nima waited and kept checking the corner table. Empty. The day after that, still empty. She asked Lonnie, "Did the old man come in the morning?" "Nope," she said. "Maybe he left the colony." Nima felt a strange sadness. She had grown used to his quiet presence. Somehow he had made her feel seen. That evening, while cleaning the table he always sat at, she noticed something strange. Taped under the edge of the seat was a small folded paper. She took it, opened it, and saw a drawing, hand-drawn stars with lines and numbers. It looked like a map. At the bottom, in neat writing, were 3 words: "You are ready." Nima stared at the paper in her hands. The lines, stars, and strange symbols looked like a map drawn by hand, not printed. She had never seen anything like it before. At the bottom were the words, "You are ready." She looked around the cafe. It was empty now. Lonnie had gone home, and the lights above flickered softly. The chair where Doran used to sit was cold. For 5 days he had come without fail. And now he was gone, leaving only this message behind. Nima didn't understand what the map meant. She turned the paper over, hoping to find more clues. Nothing. But something in her heart told her this was not a joke. Doran was not an ordinary old man. He watched people, asked careful questions, and always seemed to know more than he said. She placed the map inside her coat and walked out into the red. Dusk of Mars. The next few days passed slowly. Doran did not return. Nima kept checking the corner table every morning. She placed a cup of coffee there once, just in case he came back. But the seat stayed empty. Some customers noticed. One asked, "Where's the old beggar who used to sit there?" Nima didn't answer. She didn't like hearing Doran called that. He wasn't just some poor old man. He had dignity, wisdom, and something hidden behind those quiet eyes. That night, after her shift, she took the map back out and studied it again. There was one part of it that looked familiar, an outline that matched the edge of the crater belt, a dry, dangerous zone outside the colony. No one lived there. Only delivery bots and old research equipment could be found in those parts. A single point on the map was marked with a circle and strange numbers. They looked like coordinates. "Is this where he went?" She whispered. She couldn't stop thinking about it. The next morning, Nima asked the cafe owner for a day off. At first he refused, saying they were short on staff. But when she offered to work double shifts the rest of the week, he agreed. Nima borrowed a small delivery rover from her friend Rule, who worked with supply drones. "Where are you going?" he asked. "Just out to the edge," she replied, avoiding full truth. "That area's dusty and empty. Be careful. Signal dies out there." "I'll be back before dark," she promised. She packed a small bag, water, snacks, a toolkit, and a backup communicator. Then she took the map and started driving. The trip took over 2 hours. The Martian land outside the colony was dry and broken. Red rocks lay scattered under the dull sky. Winds blew soft clouds of dust, and sometimes the rover shook on uneven ground. She followed the coordinates, using both the map and her onboard tracker. Finally, she reached a large rock shaped like a bent finger, just as shown in the drawing. Behind it was a small hill of sand. At first, she saw nothing. Then she noticed a strange shadow. It didn't move like the others. As she walked closer, the sand under her feet changed. It was smoother, almost like it had been brushed clean recently. She knelt down and tapped the ground. Thud, a hollow sound. Nima brushed away the dust. Under it was a flat metal surface. In the center was a small round screen, blinking faintly. It scanned her face. Click. A door opened silently, and stairs appeared leading down into the hill. Nima hesitated. Everything inside her said this was dangerous. But another voice, deep inside, said this was meant for her. Doran wouldn't have left that map if he didn't want her to come. She stepped down. Inside, the air was clean. Lights turned on by themselves. The walls were smooth, silver gray, with glowing lines like veins. She walked through a short hallway, then into a large circular room. It looked like a control center. Screens, machines, and strange tools surrounded her. In the middle stood a single person, Doran. But he looked different. He wore a clean suit, black and silver. His beard was trimmed. His eyes still had the same sharpness, but now there was no sign of weakness or poverty. "You came," he said, smiling. Nima stared at him, unsure what to say. "Where is this place?" she asked. "My station," he replied. "One of many. But this one was for watching." "Watching what?" "People," he said, sitting in a tall chair. "I've visited many colonies, Nima, all across Mars. I sit quietly. I wait. I look for someone who still remembers what it means to be human." Nima blinked. "I don't understand." Doran pointed at a screen. It showed her in the cafe, handing him the cup of coffee. A recording. "I've spent my life building things," he said. "Machines, ships, cities, but I grew tired. People became cold, greedy. They help only when they gain something in return." He turned to face her fully. "You helped me without asking for anything. Not once, but every day. Even when your own life was difficult." Nima stayed silent. Her heart beat faster. "Who are you?" she asked finally. He stood. "My name is Doran Yao. On Earth, some call me a builder. Others call me a ghost. Most think I retired years ago. But I've been searching for someone like you." "Why me?" "Because the future needs hands that build and hearts that care," he said. "I want to give you something, Nima. A chance." She shook her head. "I don't need charity." "It's not charity," Doran said. "It's a key. You can say no, you can walk away. But if you say yes, your life will change. And maybe you'll change the lives of others too." Nima looked around the room, so full of knowledge, power, mystery. Then she looked back at him. "What do you want me to do?" Doran smiled. "Come back tomorrow. I'll show you." Nima left the hidden station just before sunset. The red light of Mars made the hills glow softly. As her rover drove back to the colony, her mind was full of questions. Doran Yao, a name she had only heard in news stories about the early days of Mars. He was one of the first people to build domes, transport ships, and power grids. Then many years ago he disappeared. Some said he died. Others believed he went to live on a private space station near Jupiter, but he wasn't dead. He was right here, watching, listening, and waiting. And she, a simple waitress, had somehow become part of his plan. The next morning, Nima woke up early. Her room was quiet. Her father still slept, breathing softly. She placed a small kiss on his forehead and whispered, "I'll be back soon." At the cafe, Lonnie raised an eyebrow. "You look different. Did something good happen?" Nima smiled. "Maybe, I'm not sure yet." All day she worked as usual. She served coffee, cleaned tables, and greeted customers with her usual calm. But her mind was far away, thinking about Doran's words and that strange underground station. When her shift ended, she took the rover again and drove back to the edge of the crater. This time, the door opened before she even knocked. Inside, the station looked brighter. More screens were on, showing maps, colony data, energy levels, and weather reports. Doran waited at the center, standing beside a glowing table. "Welcome," he said. "Today, I show you what's possible." He pressed a button and a clear screen rose from the table. It showed a small town on Mars, far from the main colonies. Houses were broken. Children played in dust. Water was stored in rusty tanks. "This is Zone 14A, also known as Dust End," Doran said. "Over 10,000 people live there. Most of them are workers who came to Mars with dreams. Now they barely survive." Nima watched the screen, her chest feeling tight. Why hasn't the colony helped them? She asked. "They're not profitable," Doran said. "Big companies ignore small people. But we won't." He turned to another screen, showing machines, small robots, solar cleaners, portable water purifiers, and drones. "These are my designs," he said, "but they are locked away. Most people can't afford them. I want you to change that." "Me? Yes." Doran nodded. "You understand what people need. You've lived with them. You've suffered with them. You know kindness, not just numbers." He handed her a small cube. "This is a command key. With this, you can activate my machines and build centers across Mars. You won't work alone. I have teams ready. But you will lead them." Nima stared at the cube in her hand. It was smooth, silver, and warm. "But I'm just a waitress." She whispered. "No," Doran said firmly. "You are more. You are someone who helped without being asked. You didn't wait for rewards. That's the kind of leader the future needs." For a long moment, Nima said nothing. The room was quiet, except for the hum of machines. She thought about her life, her long days, her sick father, her small dreams. Then she looked up. "I'll do it," she said. Doran smiled, truly smiled, like a proud teacher. "Good, then let's begin." The next few days moved quickly. Nima met a small group of engineers, doctors, and builders, people Doran had quietly chosen over the years. They were kind, humble, and ready to work. She told them her plans: small centers with free tools, clean water, food drones, and repair bots for every poor zone across Mars. Doran gave her everything she needed: ships, machines, funds, and access to his private network. But she didn't tell anyone at the cafe. Not yet. Then, on the 5th day, something strange happened. Doran didn't come. Nima waited at the station. She looked at every screen, checked every door, even called his private cum line. No answer. She asked the engineers, "Have any of you seen Doran today?" All shook their heads. She tried searching the Mars network, still nothing. It was like he had vanished. Worried, Nima went to the cafe the next morning and quietly asked a local news officer if anything had happened recently. The officer leaned in and whispered, "Rumor says a secret investor is visiting colonies and looking for someone. They say he vanished yesterday." Nima's heart skipped. She knew it was Doran, but why did he leave? That afternoon, a message came through her private communicator. It was short. "No video, only voice. You must go on without me now, Nima. The world is watching you. Make your choices with care. The map is yours. The people are waiting. Lead them well." She listened to it again and again. Doran had gone. No reason, no goodbye in person, but he left everything in her hands. Nima walked to the colony hilltop that evening. Below, she saw the cafe, the market, the homes, and beyond them, the dry, poor zones where people waited for hope. She held the silver command key tightly. "I don't know if I'm ready," she whispered to the wind, but inside, something had changed. She was no longer just a waitress, she was the bearer of a legacy. The red winds of Mars moved slowly across the land. The sky was calm. Nima stood alone at the edge of the colony dome, looking at the world beyond. Behind her, life inside the colony continued like normal people worked, traded, and hurried through their day. But in front of her, out there in the dust, something new waited. She held the silver cube Doran had given her. This tiny object, no larger than her palm, could unlock machines, open vaults, and give life to projects that could Change Mars forever. And now it was in her care. Doran had disappeared. No one knew where he went. But before leaving, he gave Nima everything. It was now her choice to use it or leave it. But Nima had made her decision. She would build. That same night, she gathered the small team Doran had introduced her to. They were engineers, builders, and workers from different parts of Mars. Not rich, not famous. Just honest people who believed in making things better. They met in an old transport hangar outside the colony. The hangar had been unused for years, but now it was full of machines Doran had secretly stored. Flying drones, water purifiers, food printers, solar bots all waiting to be activated. Nima stood in front of them, feeling nervous. She had never given a speech before. Her hands shook a little. But she took a breath and began. We all know. Life here is hard. Many people are forgotten. Some don't even have clean water or working roofs. Doran wanted to change that. And now, so do I. She held up the silver cube. This key can start everything. But it's not just about machines. It's about people. We must go to the poor zones. We must listen, help, and build hope with kindness, not control. The group listened carefully. Then one man, a strong builder named Tova, stepped forward. He placed his hand over his heart. I'm with you, he said. One by one, the others followed. Nima smiled. Her heart was full. The journey had begun. First stop was Zone 14, the poor town Doran had shown her on the screen. The place was dry and broken. Old houses leaned to one side. The ground was cracked. Children played with metal scraps. Their faces were thin and dusty. When the people saw a large transport rover arrive, they gathered around, quiet and unsure. No one trusted strangers here. Nima stepped out, smiling. She walked to the center of the town and stood on a rock. My name is Nima, she said. I came here not to take anything, but to give something. A new start. Some people frowned. Others crossed their arms. One older woman spoke loudly. We've heard that before. Words are cheap, food is not, Nima nodded. She reached into her bag and pulled out the silver cube. Then she tapped it against the rover's control panel. A soft light glowed. Doors opened. And inside rows of machines blinked to life. Solar panels unfolded. Water units rolled out. Food printers began to hum. Tiny bots zipped through the air. Scanning buildings. The people gasped. Within minutes, clean water flowed from a new purifier. A bot fixed a broken door. Another started building a solar cooker. Children laughed for the first time in days. The older woman watched, her eyes wide. She stepped forward and touched the water stream with her hands. Then she looked at Nima with tears. You're not lying, she whispered. Nima smiled. No, ma'am, I'm here to help. And I'll return again and again. News spread fast. Within a week, Nima's team visited 3 more poor zones. Each time they brought machines, fixed homes, shared food, and taught people how to use the tools. They didn't take photos. They didn't ask for thanks. They just helped. The people started calling her Sister Nima. Even children ran to greet her rover when it arrived. In one village, a small girl gave her a handmade necklace made from colored wires. This is for you, she said. You made the sun smile again. Nima wore it with pride. Back at the colony, something else was happening. A company called Solar Tech Mars, one of the biggest energy groups, started to notice that their sensors picked up strange machine activity in areas they usually ignored. They sent scouts. What they saw shocked them: clean water, working lights, healthy families. And none of it came from them. In a cold glass office, a man named Director Hanek sat behind a screen. He watched a recording of Nima's rover arriving in another zone. Who is she? He asked. His assistant replied, no company ID, no license. The machines look like old Doranyal tech. But those were thought to be gone. Hanek frowned. Nothing is free. If she keeps this up, people will stop buying from us. He slammed his fist on the table. Find her, watch her. But do not act yet. Back in her room, Nima sat by her father's bedside. He was awake now, sipping soup slowly. His color was better. A small healing device hummed next to him, another. Gift from the machines. You look tired, he said gently. I'm okay, she replied. You've been going out a lot, he said. Doing good things, I hear. Nima was surprised. How do you know? He smiled. Word travels, even here. She sat beside him. I just wanted to help one person, she said. Now it's becoming something bigger. I'm scared, Baba. What if I fail? Her father took her hand. His voice was weak, but strong in meaning. You already succeeded. You made someone believe again, even if the whole world turns away. One heart changed is still a victory. She held his hand tightly, outside. Mars remained dry and dusty, but something had begun to bloom, not in the ground, but in the hearts of its people. Weeks passed, and Nima's name began to spread all across Mars. Poor colonies talked about her like a legend. They said a young girl arrived in a quiet rover, brought water, food, light, and kindness, then left without asking for anything. They said her team fixed broken homes and gave people tools to rebuild their lives. In every place she went, hope returned, but not everyone was happy. Inside the tall black building of SolarTech Mars, Director Hanek stood before a large screen showing Nima's work. The video showed children dancing under a working light tower. Old people smiled as bots cleaned their streets. This is bad, Hanek said, his voice sharp. Very bad. She's just one girl, his assistant replied. No, Hanek snapped. She is more than that. She is changing minds. If people believe they don't need us, we lose power. He walked across the room, deep in thought. Find out everything about her. Where she lives, who funds her, and how she got Doran Yal's tech. The assistant nodded. Yes, sir. Back in the outer colony, Nima stood in the middle of a small village square. Her team had just finished building a new solar station and 2 medical units. The people cheered and clapped, giving her flowers, food, and drawings from their children. A little boy hugged her leg and said, Thank you, Sister Nima. She smiled and bent down to hug him back. Her heart was full of warmth. This was the life she never expected. But it felt right. As the team packed up their tools, Nima's communicator beeped. A message appeared on the screen. Urgent. Please return to Station Echo, Tova. Station Echo was the secret base Duran had shown her, hidden under the hills. Without wasting time, Nima told her team to return to the colony while she drove the rover alone to Echo. Inside the station, Tova stood near the main screen, his face serious. What happened? Nima asked. Tova pointed to the screen. A map showed many colony zones blinking red. SolarTech is moving. They sent drones to our last 3 build sites. They're scanning machines and watching us. Are they stopping the machines? No. Not yet, but it's clear they know we exist now. They're preparing something. Nima nodded slowly. We knew this might happen. We're not hiding. We're helping people. That's not wrong. Tova looked unsure. Maybe not. But companies like SolarTech don't care about right or wrong. They care about control. Just then, a second message appeared on the screen. It was short. Leave Mars, or you'll lose everything. No name, no sender. Just a warning. Nima stared at it, then looked at Tova. We don't stop. Later that night, Nima sat alone in the quiet control room. The lights were dim. Machines hummed around her. She opened a drawer beside the main console and took out something. Doran had left behind a small memory crystal. She placed it into the reader. Doran's voice filled the room. Hello, Nima. If you're hearing this, then I've already left. Or something has happened. I knew this day would come. Helping others always brings enemies, because kindness breaks the chains of fear. His voice was calm but strong. You must lead now. Not just with machines, but with your heart. People follow truth when they see it in action. You gave me hope again. That's why I chose you. The message ended. Nima sat still for a long moment. Then she stood. The next day, she sent out a public message to every colony on Mars. Her face appeared on screens in homes, offices, streets, and domes. She spoke simply. My name is Nima. I was a waitress. I didn't have much. But I knew what it felt like to be ignored, to be tired, to lose hope. One day, I helped a quiet old man. I didn't know who he was. I didn't do it for reward. I just did what felt right. The screen showed pictures of the machines helping people, the clean water, the smiling children. That man was Doran Yal. He gave me the chance to help others. I used it, and I will continue to use it, not for power, not for money, but for all of you. She looked straight into the camera. Big companies may try to stop us. They may try to scare us. But we are not afraid, because kindness is stronger than greed. Then she ended the message. The reaction was fast. Poor colonies cheered. They waved banners with her name and posted signs that said, "We believe in Nima." But Solar Tech was angry. Director Hanek slammed his hand on his table. She made herself a hero, he growled. We cannot allow this. Send a warning, something big. Something loud. That night, one of Nima's supply trucks was stopped. The bots inside were damaged. The driver was left unharmed, but shaken. The message painted on the side of the truck. Saad, go home, girl. Nima didn't cry. She didn't hide. She called her team together. This is the moment Doran prepared us for, she said. They are testing our courage. We will not break. She tapped the silver cube on the command table. Screens came alive. Machines blinked with power. We will rebuild the broken truck. Then we will build 10 more. And we'll send them to places Solar Tech forgot. Tova raised his fist. For the people. The others joined him. For the people. Nima's voice spread. Her machines moved. Her team grew. And in every corner of Mars, a new idea began to rise. Real change doesn't come from the top. It begins with one kind act. The waitress who once gave a cup of coffee to an old man now stood at the front of a quiet revolution, and she was just getting started. The sun rose slowly over the Mars colony, covering the land in a soft red glow. The wind was quiet that morning, as if the planet itself was watching and waiting. Inside Station Echo, Nima stood in front of a large digital map. Blue lights showed the zones her team had helped. Red lights marked areas still in need. Every day, the blue lights spread wider. She tapped the map and turned to her team. We've done a lot, she said, but many still wait for us. Tova nodded. The people believe in you. Even the children say your name with hope. Nima smiled. They don't believe in me. They believe in kindness. We just reminded them that it still exists. That afternoon, Nima visited Zone 22B, one of the most broken places on Mars. The roads were covered in rusted metal. Families lived in shipping crates turned into homes. The air smelled of old wires and dry dust. But when the people saw Nima's rover, they gathered quickly. Children waved and elders nodded. Her reputation had arrived before her. Welcome, Sister Nima, shouted a woman. Nima stepped out and waved. We brought tools, water, and food printers. But more than that, we brought hands to help. Her team got to work immediately. Bots rolled out. Solar panels unfolded. Medical drones scanned the sick and injured. Within 2 hours, clean water flowed again, and a warm food smell filled the air. A young boy gave Nima a small Mars rock. It's lucky, he said. Keep it. Nima took it gently and placed it in her coat pocket. Thank you. I'll carry it always. Back at Station Echo, the screens were busier than ever. Messages arrived from across Mars, requests for help, stories of change. and offers to join her cause. Small teams in other colonies started copying her model. They fixed machines, shared food, and trained others. Nima didn't ask them to do it. They did it because they believed. One message stood out. It came from a group of young builders in a colony called Stonewall Ridge. The message said, "We have no leader. We have few tools, but we have your message, and we have each other. Tell us how to begin." Nima wrote back, "Start with your neighbor. One act of kindness grows bigger than 1,000 machines." But not all messages brought joy. One evening, Tova showed Nima a report. The main broadcast center in the capital colony had rejected her latest speech. "They say you are dangerous," he said. "They say you're creating disorder." Nima read the report carefully. "We're not breaking anything," she said calmly. "We're fixing what they forgot." Tova added, "SolarTech is now offering free upgrades to colonies, but only if they agree to remove your systems." Nima frowned. "They're afraid. They want control, but we don't compete with them. We don't sell, we give." Still, she knew the threat was growing. SolarTech had money, power, and a strong voice. Nima only had machines, a message, and the trust of the people. But sometimes, that was enough. Later that week, Nima visited a small school in Zone 7C. It had no power, no books, and only one teacher for 40 students. She brought light panels and a learning tablet for every child. The students gathered around her like stars around a moon. One shy girl stood up and asked, "Why do you do this? You could be rich." Nima knelt down and replied, "Because someone once showed me that a small act can change a life. I just want to pass it on." One night, as Nima returned to the station, she found a visitor waiting at the gate. A tall man in a dark coat stood beside a plane rover. "I'm not here to fight," he said calmly. "My name is Rollo Wen. I work for SolarTech." Tova stepped forward, ready to stop him, but Nima raised her hand. "Let him speak." Rollo looked at her directly. "You've changed this planet. I won't deny that. But you've also made enemies." "I don't care about enemies," Nima replied. "I care about people." He nodded. "I came with a message from Director Hanek. He offers you a deal. Join SolarTech. Lead a new project under his name. You'll get full support, protection, and wealth." Nima shook her head. "And leave behind the freedom to help who I want, how I want." Rollo sighed. "This is your only warning. If you say no, things may get difficult." She looked him in the eyes. "Then let them be." Rollo turned and left without another word. Tova asked, "Are you sure?" Nima didn't even blink. "Yes." The next day, 3 of her supply drones were blocked in space. The ports said the cargo was missing papers, even though everything was in order. Another day later, one of her medical bots was hacked and shut down during a mission. Her team grew worried. "They are trying to break us," said Rule, her tech lead. "But they can't break our will," Nima answered. "Every time they strike, we answer with kindness. That is our way." To protect her work, Nima began training local leaders in every colony. She shared codes, repair guides, and showed others how to use the machines without her. She wanted them to stand on their own. "If something happens to me," she said to Tova, "this mission must go on." Tova looked at her, serious. "Then let's make it unbreakable." They worked day and night, building a digital web of helpers across Mars. And slowly, something powerful began to form. A network of kindness. No single leader. No company. Just people helping people. Nima stood again on the same hill she had visited weeks ago. She looked down at the lights of the colony. More lights now than ever before. Lights in places that had been dark for years. She held the Mars rock the little boy had given her. She remembered Doran's words, his quiet strength, his belief in her, and she whispered, "I won't stop." Behind her, the team prepared for the next journey. Ahead of her, 1,000 people waited, and deep in the dust of Mars, hope kept rising. 6 months had passed since Nima said goodbye to her little cafe. Her life had changed in ways she never imagined. She was now part of a secret team, working on something most people still thought was only science fiction, building a city on Mars. Doran had kept his promise. He made her part of every meeting, every plan, and every major decision. Some people had doubted her at first, asking, "What does a waitress know about space?" But Doran always answered, "She knows what kindness looks like." And that's more important than any degree. Together, they built a plan called Project Hope. It wasn't just about rockets or machines. It was about building a better life, one where people worked together, shared everything, and helped one another. Just like Nima had done that day in the cafe. Inside a giant dome at Doran's private space center, the team worked day and night. Engineers tested solar panels. Scientists grew food in soil brought from Mars-like deserts. Builders created smart homes that could protect people from cold, dust, and low gravity. And Nima? She helped design how people would live together. She thought about families, children, schools, kitchens, and places for rest and fun. She made sure it wouldn't just be a base, it would be a home. Doran smiled at her often and said, "You've given this project a heart." One morning, as the team walked into the meeting room, a large screen showed a live view of Mars. A satellite sent clear pictures of red mountains, open plains, and the soft glow of sunrise on the dusty ground. Doran stood in front of everyone. "It's time," he said. "The first launch will happen in 2 weeks." Gasps filled the room. Some clapped, others wiped tears from their eyes. After years of work, the dream was now real. Doran turned to Nima. "You'll be one of the first to go, if you still wish to." She didn't speak at once. She looked at the screen, then at the people around her. "I'm ready," she said with a calm smile. "Let's build something good." The rocket stood tall under the evening sky. It was white and silver, with the words Project Hope written in blue. Families of the travelers stood near the launch site, waving goodbye. Everyone wore white suits and small communication helmets. Doran stood beside Nima, watching the sun set over the hills. "I'll join you later," he said. "There's more work I must finish here first." She nodded. "I'll keep everything ready." He gave her a small notebook. "These are my personal notes. For when I'm gone someday, I want you to lead." Nima's eyes became wet. "You trust me that much?" "I always have," he said. The countdown began. 10, 9, 8. Inside the rocket, Nima sat beside a young doctor named Rayhan and a teacher named Mira. The rocket rumbled as engines came to life. 3, 2, 1. With a loud roar, the rocket lifted off, rising through smoke and fire, carrying the first group of peaceful settlers to another world. Nima closed her eyes, whispered a prayer, and smiled. She was going to Mars. Weeks passed. The journey was long, but smooth. The ship was well built, and the people inside treated each other like family. They shared food, stories, music, and dreams. Everyone respected Nima, not because she was a leader, but because she always listened. When they finally landed on Mars, the red dust covered their boots. The sky looked different, and the air was silent. But there was hope in their hearts. Together, they built the first shelters, the power towers, the food domes. Every evening, Nima walked across the settlement, checking on everyone. Children played near the greenhouses. Adults worked and sang together. They named the place New Light. One night, as Nima sat under the stars, she opened Doran's notebook. Inside were not just notes about machines and systems, but messages about people. If we build with only science, we get a city. But if we build with kindness, we get a future. Nima wiped her eyes. She missed Doran, but she knew he would be proud. Back on Earth, Doran watched videos sent from Mars. He saw the children learning, the food growing, and Nima standing strong as a leader. He turned to his assistant. "Tell the team I'm ready to go." Months later, another rocket landed. This time, it brought more settlers and Doran. He was older now, but his spirit was still sharp. When he stepped onto the red soil, Nima ran to him and hugged him tightly. "We kept it warm for you," she said, smiling. He looked around at the clean streets, the glowing lamps, and the people living peacefully. "You've done more than that," he said. "You've turned it into a home." Years passed. New Light became a model for the rest of humanity. Other settlements followed its example, not just in tech, but in kindness, sharing, and unity. And Nima, she became a legend. Not because she was rich or famous or powerful, but because she once paid for an old man's coffee, expecting nothing in return. That small act on one ordinary day had lit the path to the stars.